Hey my dudes, my name is Cecilia and welcome to my kitchen here in Stockholm, Sweden. Today we are making mandel och-kanellängder. So längd, plural längder, is a length. That's the literal translation is length. So it's the same bun dough you guys all know and love, the same vetedeg, but instead of making individual buns, we have instead made them into this bun length that then gets cut into pieces and served that way. These are really popular for parties, for the office fika, because everyone can take as big or as little of a slice as they would like. You can use any filling for these. This is just a style of bun. So you can make the blueberry buns, you can make the cinnamon buns, you can make the cardamom buns, any type of Swedish bun you can make, but like in this shape. This one that I'm making today does include an almond and cinnamon filling. I think this is a really fun way of making buns for a crowd, and I think you guys are really gonna love it. So let's go make them.
Into the bowl of your stand mixer, pour 550 grams of milk, 1100 grams of flour, 200 grams of sugar, 23 grams of cardamom, 15 grams of salt, 70 grams of fresh yeast, and 200 grams of butter. Pop on the stand mixer and, using the hook attachment, mix on slow for 5 minutes, just so that the dough comes together. After 5 minutes, scrape down the sides and kick up the speed to medium fast for around half an hour. This may seem like a long time, but it's necessary. Check if the dough is ready by doing a window pane test. With very wet hands, take a piece of dough and stretch it between your fingers. See how this piece kept ripping and tearing? This dough is not ready and needs another 5 minutes. After another 5 minutes of mixing, the dough feels much better. See how you can see my finger through the dough and it's not ripping? This dough is ready.
Unlike other bun doughs we have made, this is not gonna go in the fridge to chill and get cold, but it does need to rest for a little bit. Just like you after a long day at work, this dough has been worked so hard, it also needs to take a break, relax, chill out for a little bit. We are portioning into 400 gram balls. Just kidding, a little bit over 400 grams. It's gonna add the extras. So now these are each around 420 grams-ish. And then you just wanna take it and round it into a nice little ball. This doesn't need to be the world's most perfect boule. It just needs to be smooth on top. So I'm just kind of tucking it under itself and drawing it against the countertop. Good enough. So you take it, flip it over, and then this is the underside, so I'm stretching and pulling this way. And that's basically the same movement I'm doing here, is my fingers are going underneath and tucking under, and that's how you get that nice smooth skin. All right, good enough for a government job. They could just rest out like this. My apartment is a little dry though, so I'm just taking a nice clean towel and tucking them in for a little nap. Whilst our dough sleeps, we are going to make the filling. Could do this filling by hand, but I like to do it in the stand mixer because I think it's a pain in the butt to do it by hand. So I have here 400 grams of marzipan, or mandelmassa på svenska. It's very convenient that the recipe calls for 400 grams and it comes in a 400 gram package. It's almost like I planned it that way. I didn't actually plan it that way. The recipe was like that beforehand and I just got lucky, but wouldn't it be nice if I did plan it that way? You just want to break it up into chunkies. There we go. Paddle attachment and 240 grams of butter. When making this filling, it is extremely important to only add a little bit of butter at a time. Start with about a tablespoon. It's also very important that your butter is like very well softened. Like not like a little bit soft, very soft. If you were to add all of the butter in all at once, you'll just kind of like get the outside of the marzipan really slick and it won't ever fully incorporate. You'll just get all of these chunks of marzipan kind of like floating in butter. You will be really upset that you have to do the whole thing over again because there's almost no way to fix it. Right, it looks like this. I'm gonna add another tablespoon of butter. Try to get it to not fly out of the bowl like that. That is pretty much all the way incorporated. It's still pretty hard, but it's gonna be like that in the beginning. And we add, oh, that was a generous tablespoon. Okay. It can go a bit faster once it's softer. Oh, almond paste. This isn't marzipan, this is almond paste. That's what we would call it in English. Sorry, guys. So we're starting to get really nice and fluffy and spreadable. See what I mean by spreadable? So now, honestly, I have about this much butter left, and I'm just gonna throw it all in. You don't necessarily want to whip a lot of air into it, but you can be on a fairly high speed because it like makes you go faster. And it's okay if it gets a little floofy. Nice, spreadable, there's no lumps in it. Exactly what we're looking for. Because we don't like doing dishes in this household, we're gonna keep our butter bowl, and into it we are going to pour water and cinnamon and stir them together and make like a little cinnamony paste. That's gonna make it easier for the cinnamon to incorporate into the almond. This isn't so much of a paste as it is clumpies, but it's gonna be good. Throw all of that cinnamon business in there. And as with all Swedish cinnamon things, this is quite cinnamony. We love to see it. Because I like it, I'm gonna add in a pinch of salt. This is optional, but I love salt. I'm also gonna add in some bitter almond extract. Regular almond extract would work as well. Again, this isn't strictly necessary. This is gonna be very almondy anyways, but I like a really like strong almond flavor, so I'm just gonna add in 2 drops, 3 drops. Very, very little. And then again, because we love layers of flavor and I put it in absolutely everything, we're gonna add in some vanilla extract as well. Again, not strictly necessary, but just extra delicious. See how it's a little streaky? So you do need to just mix it together, make sure it's all homogeneous. Take our towel off, just a small sprinkle of flour. And you just wanna knock the air out a little bit. And we just kinda wanna make them all nice and flat like that and rectangular. There we go. That's all we want. And put it to the side. At this point, you don't want to let them sit here for like half an hour or an hour. Like once you have rolled them out, like we gotta go now. We're gonna take our filling and we are gonna eyeball the filling onto all of them. We want it to be roughly even, but we're not gonna measure because it doesn't really super duper matter. And you want the whole thing to be covered. We are going to pick it up. Oh boy, this guy's really soft now. What you wanna do is you're gonna go corners all the way down. So you start at your corners, and I'm not starting here, my corner is here, right? And we're gonna fold it over like that, and then take my corner, pull and fold over, and pull and fold over, and my middle is gonna follow. And as I'm folding over, I'm stretching. So I'm stretching, I'm pulling and I'm stretching, and my middle is gonna follow. And what is super important is that your ends here follow this line. So they're gonna go down and they're gonna go down, and we're gonna go corner to corner, and my middle will follow. There you go. Even though we did it from the short end, it became so long as it stretched out. So when you go to move this, by the way, I'm going under, I'm keeping my fingers very light and gentle, and I just, if you hesitate or you go, oh my God, it's not gonna work for you, right? It's all about light, gentle fingers and confidence. You got this, you can do it, you can move it, I believe in you. Again, corners and top part folds over, and corner, stretch and pull, stretch, pull and over. You can help your middle out a little bit, and gathering my corners, stretching and pulling and rolling down and stretching outwards as I go. My middle is following. Now at this point, I'm readjusting so that my line stays as straight as possible. My corners are following and I'm stretching. My corners are following and I'm stretching. And now I have almost a straight line, and down, down, and roll to even it out. And now we have all 5 guys ready to go. We have a tray. We have a piece of parchment. You could also do this on a Silpat if you so wish. We're gonna move you, and we're gonna move you. Take your scissors, and these are just like my kitchen scissors. They're not even that sharp. That doesn't matter. And you're gonna go to the end, and you're gonna cut and move to the right, cut and move to the left. And you want really nice, deep cuts. And as you cut, you move them to the side. And the more even your cuts are, the more even the braided look is. And then you take your little edges and you tuck them underneath like that. And you take your end and you kind of squish it in a bit. Over, over. Now you're thinking to yourself, Cecilia, why can't you just cut all of them and then move them over? And honestly, I have thought about that, but when I was working at a bakery and I did that, I got yelled at. So I don't ask questions anymore. I just do it the way that I was taught. He was so mad at me. I don't know why. See, now you can see in these ones, I tried to cut them thinner so there's more leaves. And then again, you just tuck and squishy, squishy. Some bakeries will use these like little disposable metal forms, or you could even put it in like a bread pan. You could totally do that. But this is also super traditional to just have them like on a tray. If you don't want any like white spots on your side here, you can either make a quick little like separation for them, or you can just have like one on a tray by itself, whatever you want. I know normally in my usual bun videos, I say that I like to have plastic over the top, and this is very true. I usually would put plastic over the top, but now I have this towel, which I've already made dirty and I've already used for it, and they will form a little bit of a skin, but it's so hot and humid in my apartment today that like I care less. It would be better with plastic over the top, but I've decided to do this towel today. So do with that what you will. These 3 I'm going to freeze and bake off later. I just like don't need to bake off all 5 today. If you want any more information on how to freeze your buns, how to freeze them as dough and then defrost them to bake off later, how to freeze them as baked off things and then reheat them in a nice way, blah, 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 all of that kind of information, I have already done a video on that, so go ahead and check that out and then you'll know what I'm talking about. But I'm gonna cut these and then freeze them down. Into the freezer these go. And these are gonna sit out at room temperature to proof for, I'll check them in an hour, hour and a half. It has not even been an hour, and these guys are definitely ready to go. However, before we bake them off, we gotta zhuzh them up a bit. To sprinkle on top, I have some flaked almond here. Need just a little bit. And then we're also gonna do some pearl sugar. So we wanna kind of just mix that up. And that I'm just doing by eye, but it's probably like 2 pearl sugar to 1 almond. Wanna make a nice egg wash for these. Little tiny baby whisk. Pastry chefs are like notorious, at least within the restaurant industry, for always having like little tiny baby tools. Like if you need a mini whisk, a mini spatula, a mini offset, something like really tiny, a pastry chef has it. I'm pretty sure I got this mini whisk from like an IKEA kids play set. We just want to gently brush this with egg before it goes into the oven. And we're doing this so that this guy can like stick on top. And then we're going to brush with simple syrup when it comes out of the oven. A nice healthy amount of topping. We used to do this with the pearl sugar and the flaked almond at the bakery I worked at, one of the bakeries I worked at, because the pearl sugar is what you would like traditionally put on a cinnamon bun, but the almonds on top would denote for the people in the front, like the servers and stuff, that it had almond in it. So that way no one would get confused about like allergies and stuff. Beautiful, and into the oven they go. These are gonna be baked off at 200 degrees Celsius, 400 degrees Fahrenheit. These look so beautiful. I'm so excited. So I just made some simple syrup by boiling together sugar and water in equal amounts. Now, because there's this topping on top and I don't want to brush it all off, I'm just like very gently, almost like dabbing slash dribbling, kind of. What I'm really trying to do is get like the crusty parts here and just kind of moisturize those. Plus the shine is nice. Also, I was wrong. This got baked off in an 180-degree oven, not 200. You want the temperature to be a little bit lower because these take quite a while to bake, and if the temperature's too high, they're gonna get too brown on the outside before the middle is cooked. This took about 20 minutes to bake off, so much, much longer than buns. It's also very important for you to brush these with simple syrup as soon as they come out of the oven. If you do this on like a just warm or even room temperature längd, they're gonna get like soggy. It has to be when they're super piping hot from the oven. So good. So good. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this week's video, then please like, comment, subscribe, all the things. You guys know what to do. And I hope that you have a great week and that I'll see you around next week. Hej då!